Can you be friends with your ex?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say
Is
that
it
you
no
should.
for guys or no? Because
It's
guys
a
can't.
no on both. It's a strong no on both. And guys, you should not be friends with your exes.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to have Svetlana and Jerremy Newsome with me. First of all, I'm just thrilled to be coming back to your house for this retreat, this relationships retreat. And I want to talk about that quickly and just say, hey, like tell us about it. I've been to one already, so I'm coming back because I got so much out of it. So tell me a little bit about that and those of us that are listening here.
Thank you, Jill. That's so kind of you. And I will say to everyone who is listening and watching, Jill is just extremely, extremely kind because she's coming. This is her fourth. We've had 4 events and she's been to all 4. So thank you just for pouring into us as well and allowing us to be here and to speak to your friends, speak to your family. I don't think anyone can have too much healing. And what I experienced in my life was a lot of relationships where it was tons of work and I never really felt satiated. I think it's probably the best way to put it. I always felt like I could get more and I felt terrible about wanting that. And so the whole progression of this retreat and really of our goals in general to working with individuals is to find a place for them to truly experience a healing, not only an energy, but also an awareness of what they did wrong, how they can go back and change their feelings about what they did, and how they can more adequately and beautifully connect with the people from the past and from the future. Because really it's a beautiful line and we have to be aware of why we're doing what we're doing so we can stop it, especially if it's negative. And a lot of times we will not stop because we don't know how to. And that's one of the things we definitely address, my love.
Yes, and we don't even recognize maybe that there is something within us that needs to be stopped. And I feel like there are a lot of different insecurities and crazes and neurotic psychotic behaviors that present in each of us. And for whatever reason, they really show up extra when we enter a space of intimate relationship. And the deeper we are with our partner, the bigger some of those issues start rising. And the sooner we get to heal them, the better it is for everyone. And yes, this retreat is for single people who want to attract beautiful, divine, intimate relationship, or those who are already in a relationship, but they are willing and ready and wanting to go deeper within themselves and to go deeper into their healing so they can become the most incredible partner for their lover. And they can create a new level of connection and intimacy for each other. And we have seen so many amazing miracles that took place after our first divine relationship retreat and how people found love and just connected back to the essence of love, attracted amazing partners, and those who were in a relationship actually got to experience a new level of love and commitment and devotion for each other. And that's really what this experience is all about, recognizing our own evolution, going from a girl into divine queen and from a boy into divine king, and doing healing for all those 4 days so that evolution can be embodied.
Yes, I learned so much about that. I mean, as a relationships coach myself, I thought, oh, I pretty much kind of got it covered, And I remember when I talked to you at, I think it was Prosperity, one of the first or second, the first retreat I went to at your house, and you were telling me about the difference between the girl and the divine queen, and then the dark feminine, and all these other parts and these sides of us. And I went, okay, hang on, sister. I got to know, what is this about? This is something I'm not up to speed on. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure I'm even qualified to talk about this after hearing what you've got to say. So learning about that side of it, and then that low masculine that you talked about in women as well, and in a lot of men. And that blew my mind, because I'm going, oh my gosh, there were so many things that you said there. Like, also, you answered my question too, is, a lot of people say good relationships shouldn't take work, and they should be easy. And they do take work. And I think I realized that, but also it's sometimes we tend to look at the other person. I know I'm guilty of that. It's them. Oh, it's them. I know what I'm doing here. I'm a coach. I know what I'm doing. It's them. And then I realized, oh, what am I causing? Because I learned a long time ago that, and I forgot about it, but I'm 100% cause in the matter of my life all the time. And so what am I creating? What am I causing? What am I attracting? Or what am I not attracting because of my way of being? And so your retreat really gave me that opportunity to go inside deep and say, oh, yeah, I'm not seeing stuff here. And I pull back out of fear instead of asking for what I need. And I think that just so much of this feeling of, like, because of triggers and because of scars and wounds that we haven't healed, even we think we have, they show up in different relationships.
Yeah, totally.
It's not the same person. Okay, great. But then you get in, you get into a different relationship and it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? I thought I dealt with that already. So
I think it's cool how you said that it's that perception of it's always the other person. One of my favorite like breakup lines was, and it still really is, it's not you, it's me. Because it is literally always you. Like, it's never the other person. The other person's fine. We go in with our own blinders and images and views of what needs to be the way it needs to be, and what needs to work, how things need to be created and shifted and managed and controlled. It is literally always your fault. Not you specifically, Jill, but like me, her, you, anyone who's watching, like, it is absolutely 1,000% you, not the other person, right? You entered their life. But that's what's great about it. And I loved having you there as a relationship coach, because you're absolutely right. You mentioned and you gave a lot of great tactical, really logistical, like what people can do on a dating app, right? You were able to show so many people like, hey, here's these steps. Here's like an upload. Here are the different ones. Here's the changes. And I think it's a beautiful compliment to what we're offering, but also the goal of this, as you mentioned, was and is to be able to create those moments where all the prior relationships that you've had, there are karmic ties to those. You have done something to those people when you left, and rightfully so. When you exit that relationship, there might be some healing that can still take place that you don't have to do by calling the person or talk to them face to face. But it is an internal energy that is still connected to you. So imagine you're wearing white clothes and someone throws a bunch of mud on you. And you wash the clothes. That stain could still be there, even though you've tried to wash it once. And the washing machine, you might need a different type of bleach, or you need an entirely different outfit. And that's what my wife does, is she offers people how to really cleanse and get a totally different outfit, so to speak, that's still just as white and just as sparkly.
that is a beautiful analogy. A new way. Wow. Save that one. That's great. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And so I know the goal for this, and for me and for both of us, really is just to pour into individuals, because we're not perfect. We're always learning. We're always working on growth ourselves. But one thing that we can do and we can offer is a healing experience that allows individuals grace, and more importantly, peace. Because every relationship should be extremely peaceful. And my wife has a very interesting story about that she'll share about peace.
Which one?
About your friend who didn't want to get married for a particular reason.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I have some amazing, incredible girlfriends in my life. And this particular one, I've been helping her out for a while. We had a few healings session, and we had a few, she went through the dream scores, and I saw her over the holidays, and I'm like, girl, it absolutely makes no sense that you are not married. Like it doesn't. You're gorgeous. You are stunning.
She's stunning in
you're
every
like
way possible.
the whole freaking package.
Whole
like,
package.
man, they see you, they love you. Like, what's going on? And so I asked her really a very simple question. Like, what are you getting by not being married? And what are the benefits that you're receiving? Because the benefits of you being single are a lot bigger than the benefits of you being married. Because if it was vice versa, you would be already married. And she sat there for a little bit. And she was like, I just love my peace. Like, I love my peace so much. I love waking up in the morning, having my hour to myself, taking care of my daughter. I'm not responsible for anyone. I don't need to worry about anyone else's emotions and feelings and how he does and how he feels. It's like, I just love my freedom and I love my peace. I'm like, so you want peace more than intimate love? And she's like, dang, you always just nail me. Like, why are you doing this to me? And she's like, yes, I do. I did. And that is a rabbit hole to go into and to heal. Because for as long as someone wants alternative motive more than a deep, intimate commitment and love, that desire would win. And so it's a big check in for anyone who is watching right now. If you are single, what are all of the benefits that you're receiving from being single? Because if there were no benefits, you would be in a relationship. There is obviously something that you are getting out of this single life that you value a lot more. Maybe it's peace. Maybe it is freedom. Maybe it is financial security that you get to have. Maybe it is you getting to keep your fears and limiting beliefs about how men are, women are, or whatever that is. Maybe it is you're being just stuck and not needing to grow and no one is telling you what to do. But there is something that is a lot more important to you, that intimate love. And unless you find that and you commit to intimate love, there are very, very little chances that you will actually be in a devoted relationship.
I love that, because I remember too, sometimes they say, well, why should I be in a relationship? Should everyone be in a relationship? Do I have to be? But I think it's an interesting point of view, because really walking our paths alone is fine. But as I say, in relationship, when it's right, it's like being in Technicolor. It's just, everything is brighter. You can see not only through your eyes, but through your partner's eyes. It's just,
Jill, that's a really good question. I want her to answer. I would love to know the answer. Should everyone be in a relationship? Babe, what's your thoughts?
No. That's a very simple answer, but it is more about what your soul truly wants and desires to experience in this lifetime. Relationships do give us joy. They do energize us. Do they for everyone? No. But when we start looking deep within and we go beyond our insecurities and fears of what relationship might cause us, most people would choose to be in a beautiful relationship versus being alone.
I have another question for you. I was thinking, I'd love to know I know you probably don't ever fight, but if you do, and I had the pleasure of staying with you guys a couple days, and I just loved watching how you interact. I have to say that I wish more people could have experienced what I saw of what a beautiful marriage and relationship looks like. Like, we need that. We need more of those examples. So I want to take a moment to thank you, obviously, again, for letting me stay with you, for being that divine example of what a king and queen, what a beautiful relationship looks like. It was modeled in just the most amazing way. But I imagine maybe once in a while you might have a disagreement. And so my question is, how do you resolve your conflicts in your relationship? How do you deal with that?
It's always my fault, to be clear. So
that's not true.
But at least 93%. 93% is me being an asshole. Yeah, for sure. Me being an asshole. I'm on a different energy playing field and I'm like bulldozing my way over something. If we get into a disagreement, that's what it's going to be about. But it rarely does happen. And I think this is a reason why. We try our best to pause before we even reply to each other. That's step one. Step two is we do our absolute best to be very cautious of both the words we use and, more importantly, the tonality. Because if I go, or she asks me, hey, would you mind taking the trash out? And I go, yes, dear, would love to do that. I mean, that might be how I feel. But the last disagreement we had was when she would ask me to do chores, I would just say, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, I wouldn't sit down and really embrace what she's asked me to do. I asked her, babe, why is it so important to you that I like jump for joy to go take out the garbage or do the dishes? Like, yeah, it's amazing. Like, why? It's just a task to me. And she said, I view it as I view it as an act of service, which is a love language.
Mm-hmm.
But when I realized that me doing things that she asked was a way I could show her love through acts of service, it was able for me to change my verbal tonality, the way I would say something, and the way I would agree to do that task. Because up until that point in our relationship, I would just go, yeah, sure, no problem, like easy. And I would do it, but I wouldn't,
That it felt very resentful.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. It felt very resentful. And he would do it, but it wasn't like, I felt like I was asking or like dragging or nagging him about doing something. So it felt very, very unpleasant to me. So I didn't want to ask about anything. When I learned that I was doing things on my own. And for me, my biggest thing is never build up resentment.
Yeah.
No matter what, to never build up resentment. So if I have to have very uncomfortable conversation where I will need to really come into courage or break down or cry, I would do it, but do it right away. But I would not allow my heart to be poisoned and our relationship to be poisoned. Something can be resolved right away before it goes too far. Ooh. And so I did. I asked him, how can I ask you better? How can I ask you in a different way so it doesn't feel this yucky to both of us? And when he learned that, actually for me, when he does something, it felt like, wow, I want her day to be easier. I want her to have less on her plate. Let me take care of these things so she can have more joyful and more wonderful day. That's how I thought. He didn't think that way. But anytime he would do something on his own, that's what I thought. He's like, oh my God, he loves me so much. He wants my day to be easy and perfect and wonderful.
Which is amazing. But she never told me that.
Oh, wow.
But that was what is beautiful is she had the courage to go, wait a minute, something's wrong here. I'm feeling anger. Or I don't know what resentment feels like. I only know what anger feels like. I'm a guy. We have 5 or 6 emotions. But
they aren't.
Yeah, I can tell you, but I don't know what resentment is. But she had the courage to go, wait a minute, something is off. I don't like this transaction. And she did. She cried. Like she was like weeping, and I was holding her and I was looking at her. I'm like, baby, why is this such a big deal to you? But the beautiful part is, Jill, so many couples will never have that conversation because it's a weird thing to discuss, right? Chores and just who's doing what and why and where and who, because women will feel like if I ask my man to do a bunch of things, he's going to think I'm nagging him all the time. And guys are like, I don't want to be nagged all the time. So if we can figure out a way to balance this issue, because, hey, fun fact, most men on here don't do jack shit ever. So there you go. Find a way to do a little bit more, please, because the woman or your wife probably most likely is doing everything because you're lazy. That's also a very, very strong likelihood. Now, for the men who are listening, they're like, no, that's definitely not the case. How many times will she ask you, hey, can you do this for me? 6 times. And then after the 7th time, she kind of blows up a little bit. But the truth is, can the woman in the relationship on the 2nd or 3rd time figure out a way to ask differently? Because that first time, that first verbiage, those words, he might not just hear. Because we have, and this is obvious and this is true, there are certain trigger words. There's going to be certain phrases, like, for example, hey, we need to talk.
Oh, yeah.
I told her that while, like, for me, that just like sends me into immediate panic because and she busted that one out every now and then. Hey, we need to talk. I'm like, oh God. So, but if she says, hey, baby, I'd love to have a discussion with you in bed. Right. Totally different energy. I'm not afraid at all. Now I'm like throwing down anything and I'm running to the bedroom. Like, yeah, things about to get awesome. And she can have a serious conversation in bed, but now I don't feel like, and so sometimes it's just about finding out what that is for couples and just sitting down and having a conversation and really getting aware, like you mentioned, Jill, of the fighting and the disagreements. Yes, we have them, but they are very short-lived. I mean, we're talking minutes, 7 minutes max.
And they're very rare as well. And I think, Jill, one of the things is that I always know, and so does he, and we keep it in our relationship, that we are here for each other and we love each other so much. And so I know that he would never intentionally hurt me. He would never intentionally do something that would actually be painful to me or to put me down. And we always come from that space. And even if I feel threatened in any kind of way, I remind that myself that he is here to love me, to protect me, that he's my biggest cheerleader. And there may be something I am not seeing. There may be something that I am taking through my own lens, which might not be true. And so I do not address things right away. I actually sit with that first, because it might be something from my past that is showing up that has nothing to do with him. And he doesn't even need to know about it. Or it might be something that I actually need to come up and ask, hey, how can I communicate it better? What other words can I use? We need to come up with a better solution here. And really in a relationship, most of it is finding the strategy that works for both of us in our relationship. It's all about the strategy. And you can always find a strategy that will work with chores, with anything, with children, in a bedroom, to really make an experience amazing.
So when did you know, Svetlana, that you could trust him completely like that? Did you know in the beginning when you first started dating? At what point did you go, I can trust this man, he's got my back, he's always has my best interest at heart? At what point, was there a moment or a time, a period of time that you figured that out?
I'm excited to hear this answer. I don't know.
I mean, it was in the beginning for me, because he's truly my soulmate. He's very, he's the answer to my deepest desires and deepest dreams. And when we just started dating, we probably were a month in our relationship, and we were in La Jolla, California, and he was playing in the water and I was meditating. And I already was falling for this man. I loved him and I knew that he loved me. And I remember asking God, how do I love him? Help me. Like, how do I actually show him my love? And God spoke very loudly and said, love him the way you love me. Be so devotional to him the way that you're devotional to me. And again, my strengths and my home and my superpower is my relationship with the divine. And that's my guiding light. And so I always remind myself of that moment, because he is a God in my life. He is that man that I'm devoted to and that I love with every part of my essence. And anytime I go into resentment or I try to forget it, I am reminded of what is the truth about our relationship is. And reality is, he never let me down, and it's not that he never let me down, but any moment that I felt like he did let me down, I raised up in courage and I asked questions around it so we can create an amazing strategy. And I would learn that he never did anything intentional to hurt me. It always was love. And even if I was hurting for whatever reason, it was my perception of what happened and not necessarily the whole reality and the whole story.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, Jill, is there's three sides to every coin, right? It's very popular to say there's two, there's three. There's the edge, right? It's the side.
Right. Yeah, the side.
Yeah. So what she mentioned, one thing that she says every now and then is, here's what I heard you say. Correct me where I'm wrong. So she goes into the standpoint of, I probably misheard you. This is what I heard. Mm-hmm. And generally what she heard is like vastly different from either what I said or what I was trying to say. Ooh. Because you asked an amazing question once at the retreat, is like, do men and women communicate differently? And the answer is like by leaps and bounds, 1,000%, 1,000%. Because a man, like I communicated with my best friend this weekend. We said, I don't know, 500 words to each other, and we wrestled for an hour, right? And I won, so be clear. But but yeah, hashtag I still beat him. But what the truth is like that's still a different communication because his name is Rob Wallace. We have such a strong relationship, but men are going to always communicate differently because you have to think about the genealogy and the DNA of how far that goes back, right? Men and women. I mean, you can't take away the fact that our great, right, so on and so forth, 10,000, 5,000, 4,000 years ago, all the actions that they took to survive are still instilled within our DNA. That's still parts of that is there.
Right.
And so men are becoming more computer than creature. And we have to reverse that trend dramatically because when we do, number one, women will revere us more and they'll love us more because that's what women love. They don't love the computer side of men. They love who men are. And at the highest form, a man is going to protect his woman with his life. But that's really what we're there for. And so women should find ways to allow their men to be their protectors, to show up, to put them on a pedestal so that they can revere them and they can have that true love and that devotion.
I love that so much. And I think that was something I really got clarity on was the very variety of levels that we're at in our development as human beings on this earth is that, the girl to the, what was the princess and then the queen and the divine queen and the king as well, prince and then king, it's so fascinating that when you hear it that way, it's, whoa, where am I? And we're obviously always looking at ourselves like, well, where am I in this scenario? And it's eye-opening. I think too, sometimes with communication between men and women is, it's like you ordered the Uber and they show up at the corner and you're on the other side of the street and you can't figure out how to tell them where you are. It's like, that's my favorite analogy right now. It's like, dude, like, we're just like, I'm here, and you're going like this and you can see him on the map, but you just meet up with him. And that is like, to me, what happens a lot of times in relationships is if we can just take a moment to stop looking to make ourselves right and to just say, okay, you know what? I might not be where I said I was. Let me take a look at this again. Oh, you're right. I put the wrong address in. Holy shit. Okay, let me go back. Okay, hang on there. Sorry about that. Be patient with me. I'm going to head over to where you are. Don't worry about it. Is that we don't do that. We just blame and throw stuff at each other. And we get in this loop and we can't get out of the loop. And that's where that bitterness, resentment, things are built up. And finally, it's just exhausting. And one or the other says, I'm sorry, never mind, you're right. And then you just stuff that bitterness and that resentment down until the next time. And then it stacks. And then it's again and again and again. And so you just never resolve the conflict. So I think it really, in my experiences in relationships, is that it's having the ability to be with someone who's willing to talk about it, who's willing to be vulnerable, who's willing to hold space, where I can say, I effed up here. I'm sorry, I was on the wrong side of the street. And then not throw it back at me the next time and say, well, you did that last time and you're doing it again. It's like, whoa, man, it's really being that, like, I think we're all probably in awe of you. I know I am, as I said earlier, both. And
Oh,
it's like
man.
we're all wanting to know, how do we get a man or a woman, if we're single, like you? Like, where do they come from? You know, how do we do? And if we develop ourselves and going to the retreat and being in your space, and then we're ready, is that, I know this answer, but I want you to say it to me, Svetlana, is how do we then, if we're like, we're queen, where do we find our king? Are they around? Are there enough of them around? Or are we going to need to create a factory for the kings and queens and just crank out this retreat to the max? I'm thinking we should, and we need to.
I am working on the factory. I am working on the factory because she has a program called the Divine Queen. And it's, I think one of the largest challenges to this country, to this nation, to this world, to the society is that there's not enough great men. That I will say for a fact. And one of the words that you brought up, the phrase that you brought up is like, oh, don't worry, you're absolutely right. It's my bad. That is, I said that 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. And there are times when a king will drop into a boy, and that's like the number one sign. The number one sign is, number one, admitting defeat. Number two, doing it sarcastically. Number three, not taking ownership for what you were doing wrong. Men, talking to you, right? Because normally you're like, yep, you're right. You're totally right. It's like, it's my bad. You're right.
It's like a throwing tantrum.
Yeah, I did that.
2-year-old,
right?
yeah.
2-year-olds, like, you know, Jason, he's having fun with his tantrums right now. They're a blast.
Oh, yay.
But that's why we say boy. And we are working right now with a gentleman who is, you know, grown, obviously he's grown, but he's a boy and he's in his 40s, late 40s, 50s, like full on boy characteristics where it's always his wife's fault, no matter what. Her fault. And so one of the things that you mentioned of the finding the right person, and I think your listeners will really love this, a better question to ask rather than how do I find the right person is what I had to do. And what she had to do is, how do I become the perfect date? What do I have to do to be so ridiculous that they're just attracted to me? Like if I go into a room, they're going to come to me rather than you pursuing. I am the greatest version of myself imaginable. And what do those characteristics look like?
Queens don't pursue. Only princesses do. Queens, they are magnetic and they attract. So it's the energy from inside and it's so magnetic, the whole world sees it. And when you are a queen, a divine queen, everyone comes to that light. A lot of bugs and cockroaches too.
Dang.
So you gotta sort through it. But the pool becomes very different. And I work with many, many women. And it's fascinating when they say, but he's such a great guy. And another one is such a great guy. And then they are choosing among the most amazing men. And so it becomes not only, well, he's a great guy, but is he a great guy for me? Ooh. And that's really, yes, it's a big, big characteristic when you really step into that space of a divine queen or a queen. You are attracting a lot of men and a lot of incredible men, and then you're choosing your dream person. You are choosing. It's not, I hope they choose me. I hope they like me. You are choosing.
That was so key at the retreat. I remember that, and the key word there I remember as well was discernment. And I learned that. And I also recall how many of us experienced that very thing at the last retreat, literally mid-retreat, going to a store on a break or one evening at the end of the night and actually running into people and having people come to them, men, come to them and say, hey, so we were all feeling that magnetism. So it is, I have to testify, it was true. And it is true. When we're in our divine king, our divine queen, there is no, we don't have to go to them. They come to us and then we choose. We don't have to be chosen.
Yeah, it's a very interesting energy. And I think for those who are listening, the best example I could come up with is imagine that you're at a dinner party and you see someone and you're like, wow, they must be like ultra special, ultra famous. Everyone's hanging around them. but you don't want to go talk to them because they feel you almost feel like you're not worthy. That's a prince or a princess, right? They're doing it for an attractive purpose. Queens are still so able to be approached. There is no kings and queens. Like, it's like, I can easily talk to this person. They're not on a pedestal. You can just walk up and just like almost hug them or shake their hand. Like, you know them. They know you. Like, you're almost like, you know their soul. And there's none of this fear of judgment or reproach, because queens and kings do not do that. Especially divine kings and queens. We never judge. We never reproach. We allow people to have grace, and we receive and give equally. And so that's one of the pure characteristics. So when you're talking about that magnetism, that's what it is. It's the embodiment of pure joy, of pure contentment, of real peace, and of absolute love, because God is love. And so we have to embody that. And when we do, when we ultimately embody that love, people can feel it. It's a dramatic difference.
Yes, and I think how we got there, and I hope everyone, and you continue to do the relationship retreats and all of your courses and take it on a bigger scale, because so many people need this, is it's not just, oh, I showed up, I went to the retreat, and now I'm a queen or a king. No, it's giving up the things, for me, the things I feared the most, that I didn't even know were there, like anger, bitterness, resentment, like probably secret, like the dark feminine, as you talked about at the retreat, is this need to like secretly like hope that you're just going to get it to them, because they're just, and it's not even the person that I was with, but it was from however many times ago, or my father or something else. And it's just, and it's this it was unknown to me that I was sending out that energy, but that it's like I secretly wanted to like stick it to somebody, and like, if they didn't want to go out with me, it's like, well, you know what I mean? It's that dark feminine, and I just didn't even know it was there. And I think that's where, when I released that, that's part of how because my intention at the retreat was, I want to do it for me, but not to find a relationship necessarily, because I was coming out of one, but it was, how can I love people equally, like everywhere, like everyone I come in contact with, like the way you are, like it was people in general. How can I open my heart even more and be so expansive that I can have love for people all the time, and not when I feel like it, and give, because I'm a big giver and I love to contribute and give back to people. That I'm known for that. I mean, it's not something I say about myself, it's something people say about me. And so how can I, like, there are times I'm like, oh, I don't want to take that call right now. It's like, how can I say, you know what, that person's amazing, even when I'm tired, and not just be upset about someone calling me or whatever. That was my goal. And so what I got out of that, though, was, holy crap, it's because I'm like sitting here, had this like thing about resentment and bitterness that I didn't even know was there, and I had to give that up. And so it's more than that. It was more than just, okay, I show up, do a couple of meditations, learn some stuff, take some notes. So this was really cool. Oh my gosh, now I know about it cognitively. Amazing. Thank you very much. I go home, I got the queen seal of approval, got the certificate. I'm now queen. All right, everybody, here I am. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Take some work. So
the resentment that you're mentioning, people love it because it feels so good and so easy to access. It's really, really easy because we have been ingrained that way since we were children, right? When we are boys and girls, what do? We yell as loud as possible until we get picked up. We're learning this. We're seeing this from the other perspective. But every single human alive went through this transition. Every single one of us. You are going to scream and be in anger until someone notices you. So you are wired to do that from birth, meaning it's very, very innate. It's a very easy, super, super simple energy to tap into and to access. But how much more challenging and beautiful and exciting is it to go, let me be alone. Let me not even have a relationship. Let me just do the best version of me possible, be in silence, not even speak, not pursue, not go out of my way to go get something. Just allow that person to be in my life because I'm amazing. It's an entirely different energy, and it's really, really healing when you can step into it.
Mm, mm. I look forward to coming to the next one. That is just, I'm all juiced and excited about it now. It's like amazing. Yeah, it's definitely worth going again to learn more. There's one thing that came up I thought about is expectations. I think I hear that a lot, is everything's great in the beginning. There, everyone's, you're in a new relationship, you're just like enjoying each other, you're having so much fun, there's so much bliss. And then suddenly expectations show up. Should we have expectations of our partner, or should we have no expectations? I hear that. It's like, oh, someone has too many rules in the relationship, or there are too many expectations. It shouldn't be that way. How do you feel about that? This is shifting gears a little bit from the other question, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah, go for it, babe.
It is uniquely to that person and uniquely to the relationship. There are definitely different levels of expectation the society puts on us. And a lot of times we own them. In the beginning, it's easy because it's easy to be friends, right? Because in a friendship, I think it's one of the most wonderful relationships where there are very, very little expectations. And you are with the person just because you love person and you want to be there and you choose to. When it comes to the intimate relationship, the expectations start changing, and they changed from dating to now we're boyfriend, girlfriend. Oh, now I have a different idea of the way you're supposed to treat me or do things for me. And then we go into fiance, right? And then we go into the marriage. And so the rules become stricter and stricter and stricter. And with that, the freedom, the excitement, and the passion kind of starts being more confined and more confined and more confined. And I do believe that every relationship, when two people come together, they create their own universe. And it is learning about how to navigate in their universe based on their desires and on their rules. Because saying don't have any expectations, it's almost funny because you would. But you need to just realize which ones are actually yours and what is truly important to you and to your beautiful soul, and what is important to your friends and society, but not important to you at all. And actually, right before this recording, I just got off a coaching call with one of my clients. She's in Australia, and had an amazing conversation with her. She done incredible work, and she is so good, and she is with this just amazing, incredible man. And now they are in the next phase of their relationship where they are a lot closer, so they committed. So while she was dating, she had one level of healing to go through, and now they committed. And the crazy neurotic psychotic bitch showed up. And it was really, really fun to process all of it with her and to help her to navigate it. But with every commitment in a relationship, another insecure part of us shows up. And we must work through it. It is not a time to escape. It is not time to hide it in the closet and pretend that we are not it. And it's not the time to point at our partners and say, it's you making me feel this way. Might be the case, might be not. But it is for you to sit in it. Because if you cannot work through whatever needs to be worked through right now while you in this level of commitment, you will break with a new level of commitment, and you would probably exit while you are still engaged, or the marriage wouldn't really last. So there is a lot that we get to evolve within us and to heal within us with every level of commitment. But it was really funny because she found out that some of that stuff was just expectation of her friends, how he's supposed to treat her, and had nothing really to do with her expectations, because he is extremely hardworking, amazing, kind, loving man. And but because of what the friends were saying, she was kind of going down the rabbit hole.
What did the friend say?
That, he should have came up to that party, and instead he had long hours and he was very tired and he stayed at home. And she was like,
that sounds like
should have, right? And so, shouldn't he? I don't know. I'm confused. What should I be feeling? I was like, what are you feeling?
The village. Yes. When you get the village contributing in your relationship, that can really set you in a spiral quickly. Oh yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. But that was a good question, Jill. Do you have any other ones for us?
Yeah, I do. I have one more. I'm curious about not just expectations, but what if you have needs, like we talk about basic human needs, or maybe love languages. Let's use love languages. I think that's more timely, more directed towards relationships. But what if you're expressing what your needs are, and your partner just says, "That's not who I am. I can't do that. That's not me. I can't do that. I don't know. I don't know how to do that." What do you say there? I mean, it's like, so is that an expectation? Does the person have to lower their expectations, adjust to that?
Never lower your expectations, because you will sell out a part of yourself. You never will be fulfilled or satisfied in that relationship. So lowering your expectations, selling out it's not a way. It's not a way, because there is it becomes a way of self-betrayal and self-resentment and an inner hell. So that's a big no. But there is a difference between willingness and not willingness, right? If someone is like, hey, I don't speak this love language, but I really want to learn it. Like I had to learn words of affirmations and actually get a dictionary and find out more than one way to say amazing, because he is all of these incredible things. But it wasn't my love language, but I was willing to learn how to speak it. But if one of my love languages is physical touch, and he would like, it's not my love language and I have nothing to do with that, I would walk away, because I would rather be not in a relationship than betray my soul and betray myself. And if there is a will, there is a way.
Yeah.
And so, yes, for as long as there is a will, we can always find a way to make this relationship amazing. If there is no will, there is no way. And no matter how incredible, amazing, sexy, smart, freaking everything you are, it doesn't matter. You will never be that person that would seek for him or for her, and the relationship would be amazing. You can have a mediocre relationship and suffer in it, but if the person doesn't want to pour into you so that your soul can be fulfilled, that you're not that important to them to be poured into.
Bingo. Yeah. And I think that's a great question, Jill, for two reasons. Reason number one, in my opinion, is it's amazing that both parties have clarity, right? One party knows their love language and the other party knows their love language. And it doesn't matter male or female who's saying what, but the truth is, if one of the parties is like, yeah, cool, I'm glad that you like words of affirmation and physical touch. If those are your two love languages, I'm glad you like those. Meaning it's like, I'm giving you the gift. I'm telling you exactly how to love me. Yeah, I'm telling you how to love me. And if the other person's like, no,
those aren't my love languages, so I don't know how to do that. Yeah.
That's a clear, and I'm talking clear message where it's like, all right, well, this is just not going to work then. Yeah.
Because I think what happens to a lot of people is that I wrote an article several years ago about the chameleon effect, is then we try to adapt, or we try to change, or we try to figure out how we can taper, which we said is we end up betraying ourselves, and then that neurotic behavior or that feeling of just instability kicks in, because we're going like, am I wrong to want that? Maybe I'm being too much. Maybe I shouldn't be so needy. Maybe I need to figure out how to be more independent. Maybe I shouldn't rely on this person for this. And so then we second guess ourselves. And then it's that, but this soul, which I've learned so well from your retreats, the soul knows. The soul knows what's really true. And when we don't listen to it, we get crazy.
And you can never, ever trust a person like that. Never. And if there is no trust in a relationship, there is no relationship.
You can't trust a person because they won't honor your needs or try to meet your needs.
Yes, because they very clearly communicate, maybe even without communicating, that your needs are not important, that you are not a priority, that for me, learning how to love you isn't important to me. Right.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. It's not that that person's wrong or bad.
Right.
Because there are some people who, again, let's just say from a love language standpoint, physical touch, it's obviously number one for both of us. Half of the people on planet Earth, Jill, this is going to blow your mind. Half of the people on Earth will have sex less than 800 times in their entire life.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, the doctor, this was a TED talk, by the way, this statistic that I heard. So the doctor, she was a doctor of, I'm going to mess it up, doesn't matter. She's smart. She said that half the people in this room are going to go, what? Only 800? Oh my gosh, you're missing out. And then there's going to be people who are like, 800? Good Lord, that's so much sex. Oh, right? Because as much as I know you and love you, Jill, you and me, right? We're already in that camp, like 800.
Yeah, that's it.
Bro, what are you doing with your life? Like, what do you read a book every?
How old are these people who are?
Do you read a book every day? Like, what are you doing? So truly, though, it's okay. There are some people that are just not sexual beings. They're here for more of a cerebral, intellectual experience. These people will love chess. They will love books. They will love coffee and shoes and sailboats, but they do not want sex. Or they don't want physical touch. Or they don't want intimacy, and that's okay. But if someone knows that, we were very, very clear. We knew exactly, yes, this is right for me. But if she was terrible at sex or vice versa, or if I didn't like it or she didn't like it, we would not be together at all, because that was priority. Like that's in the top 5 of the non-negotiables for both of us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we talked about it
Early.
Like first date, pretty much,
Yeah.
conversations.
First date.
And this is the things also, it's so important to discuss when you know it for yourself. It's so important to kind of have these conversations in the beginning, on the beginning stages, before you actually commit your heart, before you fall in love, just to see, to gauge, like, even if you align with the values, if you align with the deepest principles that are non-negotiables for you, without them, you will be a shell of a person. You will be incomplete. And when you have the conversation in the very beginning and you realize, hey, you're an amazing human being, but we got to go different ways. It's a lot easier to go separate ways than after 5 years in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because then you just know, and it's okay.
Yeah. Again, it's not right or wrong that you are wrong being that way. You're just not the right person for me. Right. And I don't need to be judging towards you. I just need to be loving towards me. And as much as I like you and appreciate you, and I think that you're amazing, I know that I would be deeply unfulfilled in my soul and in my life if I would choose to pursue anything with you, because this part of my life is so, so, so important. And this area is so deeply, truly important to me.
Wow. I think you answered that question. I was even thinking as a follow-up right there is, when you realize it's not the right relationship, how can you end it gracefully and gently where there isn't damage or any kind of trauma? Because as we learned, in the last relationship retreat, is we don't want to traumatize. We don't want to leave wounds. And to me, I don't anyway. And I think most people are, I think everyone's inherently good, by nature, is that we want to do right. So how do you do that in such a way where it's not, well, I'm leaving you because you're an asshole, there you go, you finally did it, that's trauma. That's not right. It's how can we do it gracefully? And I think you explained that really well, is just in a factual way.
It is. I love that question too, but you're absolutely right. It should be grace. It should almost be a math equation, because truly relationships should be so easy. Like, is 1 + 1 = 2, or does 1 + 1 = 11? Because both of those are correct in my world. Now, if neither one of those formulas is adding up in your relationship, just move on. Like just move on, because it should be super, super easy, super obvious, super apparent to both parties. And if it's not, it's like, hey, listen, I'm just not going to be super fulfilled. Neither are you, because you're going to have to work all the time. You're going to have to do things to make you uncomfortable, and you're not going to like this. And you're going to, it's like, if she made me eat beets every day,
because they're healthy,
because they're super healthy and good for you, I would marry her. Right? No, like,
so beets were in the top 5.
top 10 for sure. She was like, cool, don't eat beets, don't care. Right?
You can eat meat. I don't eat meat, right? But it wasn't big enough value for me.
Right.
You know, you absolutely can eat meat, even though I don't eat meat and I haven't eaten meat in a very, very long time. I would cook it for you. I'm okay with that, right? But if my value was I want someone who is absolutely vegetarian or vegan and that's it, then it would be very different, conversation to have with the person. Are you willing to become vegan to be with me?
Yeah.
Or you are really enjoying your lifestyle, and I'm not going to ask you to change yourself in the core, because then you are betraying yourself.
Right. We literally wouldn't even be dating if she was like, nope. Like, how early did I tell you that? I found out that she was pescatarian, like she would eat fish, or she's mostly vegetarian. And I asked her, this is like literally 2 or 3 days after we met. We talked about the whole food, restaurant, her eating off my plate, which she still does, but just like talking about.
You're better with that now, though.
Yeah, I am. Talking about, can I eat steak? Can I eat meat? She's like, yeah, dude. Hey, bro, do what you want. Like, all good. But she did ask me, have you ever tried vegetarian? Have you ever tried vegan? Like, are you willing? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Like, I'm okay. That's not a value system that's so ingrained in me that I can't even shift, maybe like religion or politics or certain beliefs, right? But it was something that was so like, yeah, you can eat meat, go for it. If she had said, no way will I ever prepare meat for you, and I do not want you eating it, and you disgust me if we eat it, I would have been like, hey, awesome. Thanks for letting me sleep on your couch. High five. I'm going to go find someone else.
Yeah. And so I think what you said too was really good is I think, I don't know if it's women more than men tend to do this, but it's that, again, that compromising, and it's really checking in with, is it true to me? Is it a value that I have that it's a value versus a belief or a mindset or something that I practice versus this is a core value for me. And it's not like, I'm not compromising myself in who I am inside. I think that's part of that tapping into the higher self that I've learned from you both is tapping into that higher self and really checking in and saying, is this really true? Or is this just something I've got some kind of hang up with because of some trigger from the past that I'm not interested in this? And
Bingo.
So can I be open-minded and try this? Like if it's going on hikes, okay, is that part of my higher self is telling me you don't do hikes, you don't like hikes? No, it's some story I had somewhere when I was a kid where I went on a freaking hike and I hated it and I don't hike. It's like, okay, can I try this? Can I be open-minded? So I think there's a distinction.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a great example. Yeah.
One final question, since we said the breakup. Can you be friends with your ex?
It's a hard one.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that
no for guys, or no because guys.
It's a no on both. It's a strong no on both. And the guys, you should not be friends with your exes. Now, if you have to see each other, you can be friendly, because some exes are parents, right? We divorced. We both have kids, so it's not like I can just never talk to my whoever. I have an ex-wife, right? I was married once before. If we had a child together, right? Like I have to be friendly. And I have to have boundaries. And with my new wife, we would have to have discussions about that. But what's more important, in my opinion, is doing your absolute best to heal that relationship and write letters to the person, burn them, do different forgiveness exercises, do things to really allow you to heal that relationship for yourself and for them. But no, I don't think that people just want to be nice when they're like, hey, let's just be friends though. No. Like that leaves the door open. There's a string still there. This is all my opinion, of course. You're on the hook.
I think you can, but only if you are completely different consciousness and very, very elevated. But
Wait, one is and one isn't?
both.
Okay.
But most people aren't. Right? Most people have so much attached when it comes to be friends with the ex.
I could
Right?
never be your friend.
Whether it is insecurity, whether it is I wanted to see what's going on in their life, it is a lot of neurotic behaviors that start taking place, really.
Yes.
And
Yes.
once you are healed and you're actually in an amazing relationship, that friendship doesn't really have any space there anyway. And so it kind of dissolutes on its own. So a lot of times, let's be friends, it's a lot of unhealed trauma and unhealed patterns, and maybe having a little space of an open door or whatever other stuff. But again, there are some people of very, very high consciousness that are very awake and they choose a very different type of life. I think there might be, again, it's not necessarily, you're not going to be best friends, but maybe a space of friendliness, a little more possible there.
That's fascinating. Okay. I've heard so many different answers for that. And I love your answers because I think it's having experienced that in my own life. I'm going, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Some of that neuroticism happens. And then that it's awkward sometimes. And I've actually have one ex that's actually a very good friend, not a good friend, like in the sense that we chat every day, but like I know his partner, he knows my partner, you know, he's known people I've dated and he's like totally cool. And it was years ago. And it's just like, it's like brother and sister kind of a thing. It's not, maybe there wasn't enough of a connection in the relationship to get to that point. I don't know, but that's probably the one I can think of. But I have been in others where it's like, oh yeah, that revolving door, it's kind of awkward. It's sort of like, you don't know what's gonna, you know, it's that checking up on everything you said. I'm like, oh yeah, remember that one? Yep, I've experienced that. So you're right. Yeah, that's so true. Well, that's
you have other friends to be friends with. Right?
So
you have other friends to support you, to love on you. You don't really need to have that level of friendship with your ex. There is no really true, unconditional, I just wanted to be with you kind of friendship that is possible in a relationship with ex. There is always some kind of murkiness in it.
What if there's like business interests or things like that? How do you?
Then your relationship is a business relationship, right? Your relationship is a co-parenting relationship, but it's not like I am best friend or this is my friend. Like, no, there are too many different relationships in a world. And I don't know why, particularly in America, everyone just puts it into my best friend. Like, I want you to be my lover, not necessarily my best friend. Like you being my husband is a lot more important of a relationship than the best friend. And so you being my business partner is just as amazing as a best friend. And so I think, again, putting relationship titles on where they need to be might be a good idea.
Yeah. And to wrap it up, I'll say for me, in that regard of like relationships, exes, you know, how to connect and how to deal, would you drunk text that person and feel weird about it? Meaning for me, if I have some bourbon, I'm texting legit friends, like old buddies from high school or whatever. I get drunk. I think of Aubrey, my buddy that, you know, I went to college with. I'll send stupid MMA memes or poker videos or whatever. But if you get drunk and then you have this deep down inclination urge to text the ex.
That's the person you definitely don't need to be in contact with. Or that's not a
bingo, right? Bingo. There's still unhealed stuff there.
There's still some attachments, some ties.
1,000%. So that's a way to create that, like, I want to go hang out with this person or drunk text this person, like, hey, I miss you. Like that's a problem. That's a big problem.
I don't drink anymore because I've done that.
Yeah. Oh, I've done it in the past as well. Right. I've done it in the past, but I've healed all of those relationships, every single one of them. And so now there's zero urge, there's zero challenge, there's zero issue to do that. But that's a great, I guess, benchmark, if you will, for anyone who's listening who does that. That can be a benchmark of going, okay, is this person someone that I need to make sure they're no longer karmically attached to me at all?
I love that. I think that's a great place to end. And I want to thank you both again for being here and so excited to be with you. on upcoming retreats. And thank you so much for letting
Thanks,
me be a
Jill.
part of your life. And I'm so excited to share you with the world. Do whatever I can to help you and serve you as well.
I love you, Jill. You're amazing.
Love
Thank you.
you.
Excited to see you in a week.
We'll see you in a week.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao. Good night.